네, 여러분 안녕하십니까?
Good morning, everyone. I'm very pleased to be the MC today. My name is An Eunbi. Welcome to the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. I'd like to express my gratitude to all the participants here taking your time out of your busy schedules. This conference is aiming at the future of the Oriental medicine. We do have a lot of programs to enjoy, and also we have our purpose of having the cooperations between the Eastern and Western medicine, and also sharing the examples of successful businesses out of the TMs, and also we will have the discussions regarding the countermeasures of the infectious diseases. And I believe that these case studies will not be confined to Korea, but also shared by all the experts from across the world. And I hope that your attention can be maintained until the end of the days. And also, we will have the presentations back to back, so questions will be available only through the Secretariat. So if you have any questions, please use the Secretariat to send your questions, and we will be putting your questions on the official website. All the materials will be also available on the official website as well. So anyone who is interested in the details and content of the presentations, please use those avenues. Now, I'd like to give you now the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. Please join me in giving them a big hand. Thank you very much. Also, we have our guest of honor to grace this event. I'd like to now give you the VIPs. First of all, Mr. Kang Min-kyu, Director General, Korean Medicine Policy of MOHW, Ministry of Health and Welfare. Mr. Chung Chang-hyun, President of National Institute for Korean Medicine Development. We have Mr. Seung-hwa, Mayor of Sancheong Gunsu and co-chair of the International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. Chairman Choi Do-young of Society of Korean Medicine is here. And also, I'd like to invite President Lee Jin-yong of Korea Institute of Oriental Medicine. We do also have Mr. Hong Chu-ui, President of Association of Korean Medicine. We have a lot of VIPs who have taken their very precious time for this event. Thank you very much for honoring this event. Now, I would like to start with Director General Kang Min-kyu for the opening ceremony and opening remark. Please give him a big hand while Mr. Kang is on the podium.
Good morning. I am Kang Min-kyu, Director General for Korean Medicine Policy at the Ministry of Health and Welfare. I am delighted to take part in the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. I extend a warm welcome to all of you here and those who are joining the conference online from around the world. I find it truly meaningful that this conference is held in Sancheong, where the World Traditional Medicine and Anti-Aging Expo is being held. First of all, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Professor Heather Grain from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology of Australia and President Choi Seung-hoon of the International Society of Oriental Medicine for their keynote speeches. I would also like to thank President Chung Chang-hyun of the National Institute for Korean Medicine Development and Choi Do-young of the Society of Korean Medicine for organizing this event. I would also like to deeply thank the experts from many countries for their session presentation. This conference is held under the theme of A Perspective for Traditional Medicine as a Future Industry. The world is undergoing rapid changes in the healthcare environment due to population changes, the increasing prevalence of chronic disease, and the spread of infectious disease. And the convergence of IT, AI, and big data is accelerating the transformation of our industry. With the increase of interest and demand for complementary traditional medicine, the global market for such medicine is expected to grow. To play a solid role as a future industry and sustain continuous growth amid these changes, there are many challenges to be tackled. First, it is necessary to standardize traditional medicine in order to improve the overall quality of services and objectively assess its effectiveness. We need to share accumulated knowledge and promote a wide range of research and development to contribute to public health improvement and industrial development through scientification, standardization, and industrialization of Korean medicine. If we can meet the demands for future Korean medicine and industrial development, I believe that the significance and role of traditional medicine will be expanded and strengthened even amid rapid changes. This conference will offer an excellent opportunity to share the traditional medicine policies and research achievements of many countries, which help us to meet these challenges and further explore collaboration plans. Also, as the period of COVID-19 endemic sets in, the conference will greatly help reproduce the pre-pandemic success of expanding Korean medicine abroad. I hope that the conference will provide a precious opportunity for active exchanges among government officials and experts from various countries, and that it can serve a catalyst for traditional medicine of the world to take a new leap forward as a medicine of the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was a remarkable remark for opening this important event. Thank you very much once again. And next, I'd like to now take a moment to introduce President Chung Chang-hyun of National Institute for Korean Medicine Development to welcome all of you to this conference. Please welcome him with a big round of applause once again. Good morning, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Chung Chang-hyun, President of National Institute for Korean Medicine Development. I'd like to cordially welcome all of you to the International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. This conference carries great significance as it is being held in conjunction with the World Traditional Medicine and Anti-Aging Expo in Sancheong, Korea 2023. I would also like to express my gratitude to Director General Kang Min-gyu from the Ministry of Health and Welfare for opening remark, and Mr. Soo Park of Gyeongsang-nam-do Governor, who was the co-chair of the World Traditional Medicine and Anti-Aging Expo. Also, Mayor of Sancheong, Lee Seung-hwa, Chairman Choi Do-young of the Society of Korean Medicine, which is the sponsor of this conference, and President Lee Jin-yong of Korea Institute of Oriental Medicine, and President Hong Ju-ui of the Association of Korean Medicine. I also thank a lot of government officials, renowned medical professionals, and professors who have made significant contributions to policies and researches related to this traditional medicine. In particular, I would like to extend my special gratitude to Professor Heather Grain from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology in Australia and President Choi Seung-hoon of the International Society of Oriental Medicine, who will give us keynote speeches. This conference is held under the theme of A Perspective of Traditional Medicine as a Future Industry, bringing together 28 leaders in the traditional medicine field from 10 countries, along with participants from around the world. I would hope that the conference will actively exchange a wide range of ideas to share insights and wisdom towards the true future of traditional medicine. distinguished guests. The modern society, with a fast aging population, has changed the paradigm of medicine from treatment to prevention. One of the common challenges faced by the traditional medicine market heading toward the future is standardization and scientific advancement. The National Institute for Korean Medicine Development, which has taken the lead in standardization and scientific advancement of Korean medicine, has organized this conference to respond to these global challenges. We hope to examine the outstanding technologies, latest research trends, and achievements in the field of traditional medicine of each country and grow the traditional medicine industry in the fast-changing global healthcare environment. Once again, I appreciate your attendance to today's conference, and I hope that the conference will provide a valuable opportunity to discuss the future and growth of our industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. There was a welcome remark welcoming all of you to this conference. We have a lot of very important guests here with us, and we're going to ask those very important guests to give us a welcome remark. First, we would like to ask Lee Seung-hwa, the mayor of Sancheong-gun, who is also a co-chairperson of the EXPO organizing committee.
Please welcome with a big round of applause. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Very nice to see you. I am Lee Seung-hwa, mayor of Sancheong-gun and co-chair of the International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. I welcome all of you to the International Conference with all my heart. I express my sincere gratitude to Minister Cho Gyu-hong of Health and Welfare and President Jung Chang-hyun of National Institute for Korean Medicine Development, distinguished guests and participants from home and abroad. I hope this event today will serve as a platform for promoting the excellence and value of the traditional medicine and anti-aging around the world. Last, as a hub of wellness and tourism industry, Sancheong, I hope that we can have a relaxation and healing moment. Thank you very much. Well, thank you very much. That was a very welcoming remark with his heart open. Now I would like to continue with the congratulatory remark. Moving on, I'd like to invite now Chairman Choi Do-young of Society of Korean Medicine. Please welcome him once again with a big round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, 안녕하십니까?
Good morning. I am Choi Do-young, Chairman of Society of Korean Medicine. In this fine day of September when the breeze is getting colder and the sky is clear and blue, at the entrance of autumn, which is the most beautiful season in Korea, we are pleased to gather together in this beautiful city of Sancheong for 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine. So I congratulate the opening of this conference. First of all, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to Professor Jung Chang-hyun and many other staff members who have worked so hard to open this event. Also, I would like to convey my gratitude to all the participants here, including the local and international guests, experts, researchers in the field of traditional medicine for taking your valuable time out of busy schedules. The world is now suffering the cancer population as well as the aging society, and we are more and more interested in the preventive medicine than the treatment medicine. This caused the demand for the traditional medicine getting higher and higher. and also traditional medicine, which is based on the natural resources and ingredients, we believe that solutions can arise for overcoming the chronic and incurable diseases so far. And traditional medicine, which has been developed based on the very long tradition of the medicine practices, they can be developed into the understandable and reliable medicine as a science. So we are very proud to say that we have this level of the development of the traditional medicines. So it is the right time for us to look back what has been done in this industry. At the same time, we're going to anticipate what is coming to us for the future development of the traditional medicine in this ever-changing society. My organization is a sponsor for these activities for the global cooperation in traditional medicine. So we are in full agreement with our agenda and also ambitious plans for the future. We will do our best in order to support the activities going forward. And also, we are a full member of ICMASES, and we are very happy to tell you that we are going to have the conference ICMAS, ICMART next year, so International Council of Medical Acupuncture and Related Techniques, that will be held next year in Jeju Island. So we will do our best in opening the 37th ICMART International Congress in Jeju. And also moving forward, the society will continue to work tirelessly for the standardization and globalization. Lastly, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the Ministry of Health and Welfare and the staff members for the NIKMD for opening this wonderful conference for global cooperation in traditional medicine in Sancheong. Sancheong, ladies and gentlemen, is a very beautiful area with all the waters and the sky. I hope you can be relaxed and also healing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President, for your welcome and congratulatory remark. And we will move on to another congratulatory remark by President Lee Jin-yong of Korea Institute of Oriental Medicine. Please welcome him to the podium. Good morning. I am Lee Jin-yong, President of the Korea Institute of Oriental Medicine. First, I would like to cordially congratulate the opening of the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation in Traditional Medicine in the presence of many distinguished guests from home and abroad. I would like to express my gratitude to all the participants who have joined us today. We also have the represents from the Ministry of Health and Welfare, Gyeongsangnam-do and Sancheong, and the Association of Korean Medicine and the Society of Korean Medicine. I would like to thank their support and the efforts to organize, along with the organizer of NICOM. COVID-19 has shown the limitations of the Western medicine, the contemporary medicine, and we look at the new prospects of Korean medicine. For the 2 days, WHO, China, Australia, Japan, Mongolia, Vietnam, Philippines, and Korea are many of the countries who have sent their experts to talk about the future of traditional medicine. We will talk about the visions for the traditional medical industry, clinical technologies, and systems. I believe that this conference for today and tomorrow will provide an opportunity to understand the current state of preparation for the future of traditional medicine in each country and help each of us prepare for the vision of traditional medicine in the future. Along with the efforts of many countries in the field of traditional medicine, KIOM is also focusing on research to foster the growth of traditional medicine as the essence of future medicine. Once again, I wish for the success of the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation and Traditional Medicine. And I hope that today's conference will serve as a venue for academic information sharing and networking among distinguished guests and participants from various countries. I would like to thank you once again as I conclude my remark. Thank you. That was President of Korea Institute of Oriental Medicine, Lee Jin-yong. Thank you, President. We have many distinguished guests for this very meaningful conference, and your participation especially graces this venue a little more. We would also like to continue a more congratulatory remark, this time by Hong Joo-lee, President of the Association of Korean Medicine. I am Hong Joo-lee, the President of the Association of Korean Medicine. There are many congratulatory remarks, so I'm going to make my remark a little more brief than I prepared. Good morning, I am Hong Joo-lee, the President of Association of Korean Medicine. First, I sincerely congratulate the opening of the 2022-23 International Conference for Global Cooperation and Traditional Medicine. I would also like to extend my congratulations to Director General Kang Min-gyu from Ministry of Health and Welfare, President Chung Chang-hyun, and Governor Lee Seung-ha for their organization. Currently, traditional medicine, along with 3D printers and genetic engineering, is receiving spotlight as the central axis of future medical care. And many countries are trying to find answers to protect human health and life in traditional medicine. In this context, this conference, under the theme of Perspective for Traditional Medicine as a Future Industry, is a meaningful opportunity to talk about innovation and traditional medicine. The keynote speeches by Professor Heather Gray and President Choi Seung-hoon will talk about opportunities of a changing world, and a perspective for traditional medicine as a future industry will provide a new model of challenges and opportunities for traditional medicine. I sincerely hope that the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation and Traditional Medicine, which is held in this beautiful environment, will provide a direction that traditional medicine should aim for in the future and lay the groundwork to lead the future. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to the Ministry of Health and Welfare, NICOM, and the Sancheong-gun for their dedication to successful hosting of this conference. Thank you. Thank you, President Hong Joo-lee, for the warm congratulatory remark. The last congratulatory remark is sent to us through a video. It was sent by Park Wan-soo, Governor of Gyeongsang-namdo, who's also the chairperson of the organizing committee for the World Expo. Let's going to watch this video. Please give Mr. Park a warm welcome through this video. Nice to meet you. I am Park Wan-soo, Governor of Gyeongsang-namdo and the chairman of the organizing committee for the World Expo in Sancheong. I would like to thank you and extend a warm welcome to all of you who have gathered in Sancheong for this international conference. I express my gratitude to President Chung Chang-hyun of the National Institute for Korean Medicine Development and the officials for their preparation of this conference. Traditional medicine is a precious heritage that carries the history and culture of our nation and people. The Sancheong EXPO aims to shed a new light on this traditional medicine and develop it as a driving force for the growth of this region. I hope that the discussions held today will serve as a fertile ground for the innovation and advancement of traditional medicine. Gyeongsangnam-do will dedicate more efforts to fostering the traditional medicine and anti-aging industries based on this expo. With great appreciation for your interest and passion for traditional medicine, I once again thank you for your valuable time today. May health and happiness be with you and your families always. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And that was also the governor's remark. And we are amid with all the warm remarks for welcoming and congratulating our event today. Before we start our main points, I'd like to have a session for taking photos for the group. So I'd like to ask all the VIPs to come up to the stage for taking group photo.
I'm gonna count in three. Three, two, one. Thank you very much. Thank you for your cooperation. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your cooperation for this photo time. 여러분, 이렇게 기념 촬영에 함께 협조해 주셔서 너무 감사합니다. 네, 곧 장례를 정리하고 컨퍼런스를 소개하도록
We are
하겠습니다.
going to soon wrap up this photo session and we will begin the conference very soon. We'd also like to thank all the distinguished guests and the participants for coming together to participate in this conference this morning. Now we will begin the conference. Good morning once again. Now the opening ceremony is over. Now we are beginning the 2023 International Conference for Global Cooperation and Traditional Medicine. I'm your MC, An Eun-bi. Once again, I would like to announce that there is simultaneous interpretation being provided for this conference. Please set your receivers to channel 1 to listen to Korean and channel 2 to listen to English. We are also doing a satisfaction survey online and offline. If you are here with us in this room, you must have received the questionnaire of the survey from the registration desk. So when you leave the conference room, please return the surveys that you filled out to one of our staff members. And for those of you who are joining us online, there's a link to the survey at the bottom of the video. You can click on this link and leave your feedback, and we're going to listen to your voice. There are many presentations, including the keynote speeches, that will happen one after another. So if you have questions about the presentation, please leave your questions and send it to the email, secretariat email. Then we're going to receive the answers from the speakers and post it on the website of our conference.
이제 첫 번째 기조 연설자인
이번 컨퍼런스의 첫 번째 기조 연설은 헤더 그레인 로열 멜버른 공과대학교
and we have our first keynote speaker, Dr. Heather Crane from the Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology University, and she's going to give us the theme of opportunities for a changing world, putting traditional at the great core of medicine.
Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology University. Her keynote address today revolves around the theme of opportunities of a changing world, putting traditional at the core of medicine. Without further ado, let's dive into her insightful presentation. Please welcome her with a round of applause.
Thank you all very, very much. I am truly honored to be here. In particular, I would like to celebrate the theme of this conference, collaboration. I believe that is the biggest challenge that we have in healthcare today, and I don't just mean in traditional medicine. I think all forms of medicine need to cooperate more than they have in the past. Traditional medicine has a fantastic history. How do we bring that history along into mainstream medicine? There we go. So we need to bring it all together. We need to work together. We need to, I think of it as having open minds. The cultures around the world are often open to traditional medicine, but Western or contemporary medicine tend to be resistant. We are seeing this opening more, but how can we make it easier? How can we make our place more obvious as a branch of medicine, not something different? Traditional medicine and contemporary medicine are all aiming to do the same thing. We just use different methods. That is not bad, that's a good thing. As a patient, as I move from place to place, that's a good thing. I want all of my healthcare providers to be thinking together and working together. The way that that is achieved in many places around the world today is using technology, because technology makes communication easier and it enables collection of the evidence of the value of different forms of care clearer. It makes it easier for those who look purely at the contemporary scientific model to bring traditional medicine into that model. So if we're going to do that, we have to understand something of how technology works. I come from the world of technology, but I work in healthcare. I work in contemporary medicine, I work with traditional medicine. I see them as part of the same thing. But what the technology does is it supports collection, representation, and retrieval of the data from all forms of medicine, data about me as a person, data about you, data about the care you give. And it also supports investigation of that data. So learning, we can use the data to learn. And we can do it more quickly if we look at the mainstream of what's happening in technology in healthcare. So the opportunity that we have is created by people working together, but by recognizing that what we have is a data supply chain. Not just a supply chain for the herbal medicaments, not just processes that they use, but also processes for the information. The information about the patient and the people who care for them, the information about the clinicians and the team that work with them, the different care organisations and sites that a patient goes to. Because today, care does not operate in isolation anymore, as it did many, many years ago. Data doesn't exist in isolation either. Sharing is the reality of our data. People will share it. But the other thing that is a little bit scary in some ways is that the data will live for a long time. It hangs around, it gets put into a record, it gets retrieved 10 years later. And will it make sense in 10 years? Will it cause problems in 10 years? Everything is interconnected, particularly the more we use technology. That has great opportunities, but it also has risks if we fail to engage with that technology. So what do we need? We need to understand what is already in place, what is already happening. That means we need to understand what exists in traditional medicine, but also what is happening in the information systems of healthcare. We need a consistent view of the information. For that, we need a structure to the data. Traditional medicine has a body structure that we all are familiar with, but data has to have structures too, if it is to work properly. We need a consistent representation of things. With technology, that is achieved through code systems and terminologies. We need to understand enough about how they work and which one we need to do the job we want. You do not have to become technical experts. You just have to understand the pieces and how they fit for you. And of course, there are processes and systems used. Where do the processes fit? How are the existing processes similar to what you might need? I spend a lot of my time working with international standards. I chair committees in the health informatics community, and I am heavily engaged in the traditional medicine community as well. ISO seeks to establish best practice processes for what data do we need, what terminology should we use. For example, we need to be very careful with our technology that we don't use a word that has a meaning in another branch of medicine that is going to be misunderstood. So we need to work our way together into these things. We need to look at what are the requirements for data. Now, I have seen data structures. They exist in, for example, the identification of medicinal products at ISO. But they are missing big chunks. They are missing the requirements for traditional medicine. They are not there. Much of what you need is there. They have substances, they have processing methods, but they do not have some of the production methods that are used in traditional medicine. In the substances, they do not have where was this substance collected, in what season. They are missing pieces. So we could be extending what exists. That is a great opportunity, because the minute we don't do our own separate things, but we add what we do to what exists, we become part of that model, part of what is internationally accepted already. That is a much easier path than trying to be different. Traditional medicine has differences, yes, but it has similarities, and that is what excites me. To help us expand so that we share the common and acknowledge where we are different. There is also an international standard on the structure for electronic health records. That provides even broader structures about what is a diagnosis, what are the components that support diagnosing, and what are the elements of treatment. There are also international standards for terminology. Now, traditional medicines have been incorporated into the International Classification of Diseases, the 11th edition, but it is important to recognise that that classification is a statistical classification. It is intended to count things. I do not want my doctor, whether they are traditional medicine or contemporary medicine, I do not want them limited in what they can say and represent about me based upon a statistical collection of data. The statistics should be a byproduct. And that is where the standard nomenclature of medicine for clinical terminology, SNOMED CT, is the terminology designed for the clinicians to use. Every clinician. It is the detail. It allows you to say something in depth, minute little details, or very high level. It can be either, depending upon what you know, what you are observing, and what you need to represent. There are also standards for information exchange. I'm not going to discuss those very much today, but they are about one computer sending information to another computer, which means if I go from one place of care to another place of care, my record can go with me and the new carer can understand what has happened. I think that is important, but if you get the structure and the data right, the exchange becomes easy. So I'm not going to discuss exchange very much. So with these existing standards, they have an impact. They are often already in legislation. So if traditional medicine tries to do something different, it will make it harder for the countries of the world to accept what you do. Whereas if you take these standards that are already nationally adopted or in legislation, as in Europe, for example, that international identification of medicinal products is legislated. We can't compete with it, but we can extend it. That puts us right together with it. So extension, to me, is the way through the problem of acceptance. Because if you are in a standard that is already legislated and you add the traditional medicine components, you're no longer different. You're just establishing the things you need to work in the same systems that everybody else is using. These international standards are updated regularly. It's not that you would never be able to change them. They can be added to, they can be changed. And the people who write these traditional standards for contemporary medicine would love to have them extended to include traditional medicine. They are open. They want to engage. They just don't know how. Very much like the traditional medicine community doesn't know how to join in to these technical standards. That is the big challenge, understanding enough to be able to engage. So step one is to be willing, to be open and willing. I think willingness is already here. But the difficulty then is how do we do it? So I think we need to look at the major components. We need a consistent view. We need to know the structure of data that is used in traditional medicine. And a lot of work has been done in the international standards arena to help identify that. So when we talk about data structures, I'm talking technical, But from your perspective, it's just about what are the different things that you need to know. You need to know body parts, you know, the structures of the body. You need to know what observations you have made. You need to know what meridians were involved, what diagnostic patterns were used. All of those things are part of the decision making. The diagnosis patterns that already exist include body parts, but they only include physical body parts. They do not include the traditional medicine, what I call virtual body parts. They're a different concept. The liver is a physical organ, but it is also a concept in traditional medicine that is different to the physical organ. We need to have another thing in the diagnosis pattern that already exists is causative agents. At the moment, there are only two of these, two types. There are pathological and there are external causes. And the external causes includes physical forces but doesn't include qi. That's not a big change. You know, I might not have it in the right place. I'm not the expert, but I can at least suggest where things might fit. So we need to add some of these components. This is an international, what's called a clinical information model. It is all of the different pieces of information you might want to collect. You might want to know about a patient. There may be things here that you would want to know that aren't shown. Or many of them might just be extra things that you want to add. For example, under the structured body sites, we might need to add some of the traditional medicine meridians and things like that, because they're not there. In the causes, we might need to add the factors that influence disease. But the structure isn't that different. It's just what are the pieces we need to extend. You know, all diagnoses and problems in all forms of medicine share many of these items. I am desperate to know what we are missing, what you can tell us. It's already very clear to me that the virtual body site idea is missing even in contemporary medicine. We talk about the psyche in contemporary medicine. That is not physical, and yet it is a known body process that is discussed and examined. So why not extend to include not just what traditional medicine needs, but once that is done, it may allow Western medicine to be more precise. I shouldn't say Western medicine, particularly when I look at my own country, where we have a strong traditional medicine community in the Aboriginal community that is only just being recognised. I am thrilled to say it is being recognised because being a country that was separate from the rest of the world physically, you all know how different our animals are. Our plants are really different too, and they hold a lot of interesting potential that I think I find exciting. We also need, so we've talked about having a consistent structure, we also need a consistent, what we call code systems, terminologies. Why do we need code systems? We haven't needed them historically. If we want computers to give us evidence, if we want computers to share information, computers are really stupid. They don't know anything. They can't do anything unless we give them information in a way they can handle it. Personally, I'm not that good at remembering codes and numbers, even though I work with codes and numbers every day. And I bet many of you are not either. But I know my computer needs them. If I want to do analysis, if I want to learn new knowledge, I'm going to need to have the way to pull the knowledge I want out. That needs code systems. Code systems should not work alone. They are the partner that works with the structure we just talked about. So for example, if you have problem ABC, the context of that problem is from the data structure. Is it history or is it current? Having a history of something doesn't make the disease different. In many of our code systems, particularly the statistical ones, they would have a different code for the history of ABC to the current problem of ABC. That is silly. It's still ABC. What is different is the context in which it's occurring. Why do we have this problem? Because in computer science, just as traditional medicine and contemporary medicine are finding it difficult to figure out how to work together, in IT, the people who design the data structures and the people who design the terminologies have each been trying to solve the problem alone. So they have developed bigger and bigger solutions instead of saying, hold on, if we work together and we put history with a simple term together, it's so much simpler. We are getting acceptance of this view internationally now. I will be speaking next month at the International Conference for SNOMED, that international terminology, with exactly this point, and they have made it a premium speech because they want everybody to hear it. Because they need to stop trying to solve the problems of the world as well. There are different levels of information. One of the problems with a statistical classification is that it sets the level of data at the level that meets a statistical use case. But that might not work for the doctor. What we often say in an example for this is that if you are working in one environment, you might need pulse information, but you might not need all the other details. You're just doing something very simple, very general. But in another environment, you might need lots of pulse information in order to do a more detailed review. It's up to clinicians how detailed you need to get. And that is based upon the patient and their condition, their situation. Researchers might want detail, or they might want groups of ideas. So they might want statistical, or they might want detail. So remember, if you're looking at anything that's called a classification, it is generally designed to count things. That makes a difference. So SNOMED, which is a terminology, is not designed to count things. It can count things, but it's not what it's designed for. It's designed to represent information. So SNOMED has a number of different components. It has substances. They are biological or chemical or natural items that can be, that define exactly what each substance is. You might then have products that might include multiple substances, that might have a preparation method. All of those items are used in the terminology to identify the product. And if the product differs just a little bit in its production method or its criteria, then it would be given a different code because it would be seen as a different thing. But if you have two products that have exactly the same substance, collected and produced exactly the same way, then they would use the same code because they are the same substance. There are organisms, plants, animals, bacteria, viruses. You can code, I think, pretty much every breed of cow in SNOMED. I don't know why you'd want to, but you can. You can describe, and there are undoubtedly items in the organism list that are missing the principles from traditional medicine that need to be incorporated. There are physical objects. There are body structures, normal and abnormal. There are roles. Are you acting as a patient, a carer, a clinician? Who are you? And there are actions. These include observations. a diagnosis. A diagnosis is defined as a clinical expert taking the observations they have made or others have made, applying their knowledge and attaching a diagnostic opinion, effectively. So a diagnosis is a technically valid opinion versus the observation, which is a fact. There are so many facts. This is a lectern, it's a fact. But that doesn't tell me much about the lectern. There are procedures as well, and all of these areas need extension. Some of them are already happening for traditional medicine. This is where SNOMED is already used around the world, with the national member bodies shown. And you can see Korea is one of the countries that has adopted parts of this terminology already. It is very, very widely used. It is owned by the countries of the world. So they have already realized the need to collaborate. What we don't have is a lot of work being done by the countries who are member countries that work with traditional medicine to extend it to meet the needs of traditional medicine. Here is just one example, which I think is incomplete, but this is an example straight out of SNOMED. If I wanted to say acupuncture, then there is a code for acupuncture as a procedure, 448680003. But it is defined in SNOMED as being a procedure that uses a method of insertion and a device of an acupuncture needle. Now, there are alternatives here for different sorts of acupuncture needles and different sorts of insertion. Some of that is in SNOMED, some of it is not. So there are gaps, ready and waiting to be filled. The benefits of something like SNOMED are that you can have different levels. So, for example, they've already put in fine needles as a type of needle for acupuncture, but there are so many other things they haven't done. They haven't indicated if stimulation is applied or any of the other things that could be relevant. So they've gone partway down the journey, but they have not completed the journey in anywhere near enough detail. What we have learned is that it's easier to find things if we use these criteria. If you were doing research and you didn't care what sort of needle was used, you could just look at all needles and ignore the detail, because SNOMED gives you knowledge about the item that you use. You use one code, but when you use that code, you get all the other information associated with the meaning of that code. So these are some of the full member bodies with a strong traditional medicine base. It's not all of them by any means, and I just went through and collected the first few on the list. So there are a lot of countries with an interest in traditional medicine who are already working with SNOMED. They're just not doing it for traditional medicine. So for our processes and systems, we need to understand the scope of what we're trying to represent. We need to understand that for traditional medicines, we might be talking about processes from growing through harvesting, processing, packaging, preparation, administration, all of those things. We need extensions to devices, processes, the duration and repeating of treatments, and we need to collect information about the outcomes of care. We need to look at what existing standards might help us. There are two here I've taken that are just as applicable in traditional medicine as they are in contemporary medicine. They're ones that I know because I wrote them, but that's not why I think they're good. The MAP qual is about if you collect data in one code system and you have to change it into another code system to share it or analyze it, you use what's called a map that says this concept is the same as this concept. or this concept is similar to this one. The quality of a map is so important. It has, I cannot name where this occurred, but bad maps have killed people. Okay? Where the map was not precise and the clinician who received the information assumed they were receiving everything they needed, but they weren't, a patient died. I know of many instances where patients were nearly impacted, but in this case, was the worst impact. So we need to be aware of all of these issues. And a lot of the standards can help us. There is already a good standard for identification of people in healthcare that is used around the world. We just need to say what is similar or the same and what is not. So we need to think of our common problems. We need to stop reinventing not the wheel, we're reinventing the spoke. We're reinventing each single strand on this wheel. We need to think about how can we do it better. We don't want to build a wheel that only works on one road, that only works for traditional medicine. We need to think about not just I know what I'm doing, my way is the right way. It doesn't matter how right you are if you're not in the playing field. You can be so right, but not being listened to. So things like, I know I'm right, are not helpful. Things like, we've always done it this way, also not helpful. I've also seen cases where people will write a standard by picking the right English word from Google Translate. This is not a good idea either. It has led to some very, very strange standards. But we do need to develop some skill, and it's skill in domains that might not excite any of you. It's about understanding digital health, about concept representation, code systems, and I know Korea has some experts in this area in traditional medicine. About data representation and knowing existing standards. There is a whole ISO committee on medical devices. How does that committee work with what traditional medicine does? So far, very, very little. I'd like to see more. So the solutions, we need to work with existing initiatives to bring traditional medicine into the generic mainstream. I am not suggesting that contemporary medicine is right, nor am I suggesting it's better. I am just saying it's already there. So you can be right and not join in, or you can accept where we are, join in and have a say. And I vote for that. We need to extend international standards, not create standards that don't connect up. That's not going to help traditional medicine. It's been a good first step and we've had a lot of learning that way, but I don't think it's the key to success. We need to build understanding and skills in digital health. You don't have to become an IT nerd like me, but you do need to understand some of the basics that I've talked about today. So why would we bother? We bother because we want traditional medicine in its rightful place in healthcare. It is not a separate, weird thing. It is just another form of medicine, deserving as much respect and intelligence as other forms of medicine. We need to be safe, and patients move from traditional medicine to contemporary and back and forward all the time. I know there is a hospital in Seoul that was a revolution to me when I went there, that has traditional and contemporary medical staff working together as a team. I thought that was magnificent. That was really exciting. I would love us to achieve that because it's safer. I know contemporary doctors who say, oh, we need to know what traditional medicines people are taking because they might conflict with my treatment. And I say to them, well, I think the traditional medicine people need to know what you're giving the patient too. This is not one way. it's one body that may contain a bit of both. So for safety, if we are health professionals who value safety and patients, and I'm sure we are, we need to be working together. We need traditional medicine products and processes to be represented using the mainstream tools, data, and code systems. So I challenge everyone to take the challenge, gain some of the skills that are needed, or at least advocate for joining with the mainstream. And I think that's the conclusion, Don't think there's anything more. Yeah, that's me.
Thank you very much, Professor. Please give her another big round of applause. Thank you very much. 네,
She talked about collaboration and traditional medicine and the importance of understanding and using digital technology. Thank you once again, Professor and Director.
Director Hathaway, thank you for your insightful presentation on the importance of cooperation and utilization of digital data. Thank you very much.